What's going on, people? How you doing? This is TK coming at you. Just want to talk to you about the positioning that you need to do in finance in order to win in the 21st century. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have financial literacy, and they're not spending time educating themselves on, one, how the fractional reserve banking system works, and two, how they need to make different financial decisions in order to create different results. I've always said that what we decide, our choices today, is what creates tomorrow. So think about the fact that what you make it work in whatever paper money you get in your life, it's not about how much of that paper that you save. It's truly about what you save that paper in. So I've always been talking to you guys about gold, silver, and Bitcoin, and how to position yourself with whatever paper you have in those asset classes, because the equity gains are far greater than what you can receive in a less than 1% bank account. But, you know, I get 2 views on my video and very few people understand, much less pay attention to the information that I put out. But thankfully, I am not held responsible for what you do when you get to the water. The only thing I'm supposed to do is lead you to the water. I've never understood why people don't reach out, extend their hand to help other people. Yes, your personal choices and your education level is up to you in terms of your individual effort and what you spend your attention on. But me putting this information out is meant to spark a fire and hopefully get you in the direction of focusing on finances, because that's the only thing I've done. I said, hey, I live in a world where you have to pay to exist. Everything you want in this world requires some sort of payment in order to access it, right? So why not focus on payments, or focus on the process that allows the payment system to work? So in my research and in my studying, that's what I've focused my attention on. That's what I've spent time learning about. And through my attention being on finances, I've been exposed to, or the door has been open to me for a lot of advanced financial strategies that usually are held to executive circles. In other words, the more you move up financially, the more you're exposed to strategies and techniques that the people in that income level use on a daily basis. If you finally make it to $100,000 and that's what you earn at your job, then the people that you're around typically are exposed to information in the $100,000 range, where you wouldn't have access to that information, say, if you were at a $25,000 job. So that's the only thing I'm talking about. I'm talking about how to use information to empower yourself so that you're making different decisions and you're positioning yourself for a sound financial future, right? So you have to get into gold, silver, and Bitcoin based on the 21st century equity gains of upwards of 5,000%. You have to get out of fractional reserve banking. You have to opt out of fiat because of devaluation, inflation, and the greed, robbery, basic theft that takes place within that system. So the next thing on the scale would be, how do you leverage your gold, silver, and Bitcoin so that it has a job and works more aggressively for you and brings you back higher returns? Now, making the choice to spend money on asset class that accumulates, that appreciates over time, is step number 1. Step number 2 is to make that asset class get a job where it's bringing forth a decent return, and now your money or your assets works for you. Now, investment banking platforms that allow assets to get a job is one of the areas that I've focused on. And I try to expose people to those systems by showing them my results. Because I think sometimes when you show someone that, hey, I have a Bitcoin debit card that allows me to spend Bitcoin the same way you spend credit. When you show someone that, hey, I have 3 different gold and silver accounts where my gold is held in a private vault, but I have direct access to that gold and silver, and when gold appreciates, of course, so does the value of my account. You know, showing you the results sometimes produces more attention within your viewer base. So I come at you guys from a result-oriented standpoint without being too transparent with my accounts. So the one thing they always say in finances, keep your finances private. And within the fiat banking system, that's because somebody will put a gun to your head and rob you if they find out you have $100,000 sitting in the bank. You know, people want to take instead of work. Why should I work for $100,000 when I can just take yours, right? So that's why they always say keep your finances private, and that also gets into some people's greed nature and then some people's divisional nature in terms of not believing that certain human beings have the right to obtain certain levels. You know, we're conditioned to fall into the mentality of sect and division. So because that's what's propagated, people buy into that thought form, and everyone operates in the same manner. You know, you put people in classes and you feel like they don't deserve not only the right to the information, but they don't deserve the ability to make these type of financial decisions. But I step outside of that paradigm and say that any human being has the right to expand their consciousness and expose themselves to other forms of information so that they can make better decisions. That's what my videos are about. My videos are about empowering you with the items that I've studied so that it saves you time from studying as much as I have. But it doesn't exempt you. You still have to put forth effort to educate yourself on what I'm presenting to you. You know, you still have to read the perspective and do your own due diligence. But I want to save you some time, get you in the right direction, hopefully spark a fire. And the latest addition to my portfolio outside of gold, silver, and Bitcoin is the process of employing your gold, your silver, or your assets. And that's what I lump into the term investment banking platform. So when I say investment banking platform, what I'm referring to is the process in which your assets are multiplying and have a job working for you a lot harder than you had to work in order to get those assets. So Bitcoin can do that for you, and you can see 5,000% gains. Gold and silver can do that for you. Sometimes I leave the door open where I kind of say, here's the concept, research it. Google is your friend, and you have the ability to study the same fashion that I studied, and I've given you the topic or the subject matter. So whatever you do at this point is totally up to you. But let that be your guiding light. You know, let my videos be the introduction to the world of finance and the action and decision making that gets you on a different path. My latest information that was given to me is so powerful that I'm not even able to share it with you guys, because you would have to understand fractional reserve banking, you would have to understand investment bonds, and to break that down in a 10-minute video is just harder and more complicated than I want to do. So the only thing I can say is put your mind in the right place, start your process, and I'm willing to do private one-on-ones if you're that interested and you're really serious about change.